Hi, I'm Clark.
And I'm Emily.
And we're on Sailing Vessel Temptress.
This is our adventure log for January 2021.
Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Clark.
We opted out of a typical American life to live more independently, frugally, and off the grid.
We currently travel the world aboard our antique sailboat named Temptress.
Each month, we sit down to tell you where we are, what we're doing, share the best and worst moments, answer questions, and tell you exactly how much it costs us to live this life.
This is our adventure log for January 2021. Luperon gets colder this time of year. It's winter. Cold is a relative term, though, to you people up north. We get down to maybe 72 in the middle of the night, and we've turned off air conditioner and actually broken out blankets that we use occasionally. Mm-hmm. But we can tell the difference.
Yeah, but it's still nice. It's much better than being in Florida or Texas or some of those other places right now. So yeah. We were glad to be here.
Yep. So the weather's been nice. It's been very pleasant. Summer's the hot time here. Winter's the pleasant time. But everything else has been hellish this month. This has been the worst month, possibly in our lives.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, because of your, medical.
Yeah.
Let's go into that first. I don't know. What do you want to talk about first? What hellish things shall we talk about?
Well, let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Because it's a very good place to start. On New Year's Eve, the fridge started making funny noises.
We had a leak in the saltwater condenser, and I just took it out and bypassed it because we absolutely needed the fridge right away. And we have another leak somewhere I haven't found yet, but I only have to top the gas off about every probably 2 months, so I'll find it. But there's so much else going on this month. Mm-hmm. So yeah. We'll get to that.
So the fridge was a problem. We ended up, you ended up fixing it. And then from January 6th through January 9th, I was in the hospital for 2 surgeries I ended up having for an issue that I was having that I had waited all December for. So it was a relief, but it was also very painful and not fun experience. So.
We spent a month trying to get a surgical consult here, and everything was in the way. And the final thing was, oh, you need a COVID test before we'll even see you. So to get a COVID test, we had to go to a big city. So we went to the big city, just walked into the emergency room.
Just did it all.
Got the ER doctor looked at her and said, you need a surgical consult. Yeah. Surgeon came, you need surgery right now. And they had her in surgery within an hour or 2 of that diagnosis. Yeah. So for the first surgery.
Yeah. So in the hospital for 3 days, 2 surgeries. And then after that, I had to go to the hospital every day for 7 days to get antibiotics. So that brings us up to what, like the 16th? Mm-hmm. All hospital days. And then on the 18th, I came down with something viral. I don't know if it's the virus or if it was just a virus, but we both ended up getting sick and just being tired, and just eating and sleeping was basically all we did this month.
We've been the 2 most careful persons on the planet out here on our sailboat. We don't do the social musical things here because we're trying to stay healthy. And then we go to where they store the germs and spend 2 weeks.
Got really exposed to lots of
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, so we got exposed, and we're just staying on our boat to protect everybody else until we're very, very clear of symptoms. Emily's pretty much over it, and I'm getting over the sleepy stage, and I'll be coughing, but I've got chronic bronchitis. I cough all the time, so don't let that bother you.
Mm-hmm. The nice thing, though, about going to Puerto Plata so many times... You coughed!
Oh, no. I'm going to die.
The nice thing about going to Puerto Plata is we went to the big grocery stores and spent maybe not quite $500, but topped up a bunch of our food supplies, things that we can't get here locally. There's lots of stuff that we can get here locally, like chicken and eggs and pineapples and fruits and vegetables. There's all kinds of great stuff, but specialty things, condiments, and just the ability to get a taxi, go to a grocery store, load up the taxi, and then just bring it right to the dock and put it in the boat instead of walking, a mile to
We
go
had
all
to
the way up and
go
back.
there anyway for her week after the surgery checkup, so we'd already had to hire the taxi. And by then, she was more or less ambulatory.
Yeah. So we've got lots of food. We'll talk about the budget, of course, as we always do. The food budget's a little higher this month, but we
The
probably
medical
won't be buying
budget is
anything.
significantly higher this
Yeah,
month.
right. So other than eating and sleeping and just taking care of ourselves, we've both kind of gotten into the creative zone.
Yes.
Me with my board game stuff, and you with your battery stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to tell you about Emily's board game because she won't brag enough. And she's been developing board games. She couldn't move, and this girl can't do nothing. So she's laying there in bed all sick saying, wouldn't it be cool if there was a game that would? And she's just very creative. She's got 2 of them that are on Small Furry Games, that other website she's got. So if you want to see demos of them, they're there. Publishers are talking to her about the first one already. This is the first time she's ever developed a game, and she started like a month ago. She's got publishers,
November, yeah.
okay, but you really got going in December, I guess, when you got sick. She's got publishers looking at one. The other one is she submitted it for a kind of a prestigious, as I understand, award called the Cardboard Edisons, and she's one of the finalists.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty proud of that.
But he is inventing something that isn't a silly game that is going to help a lot of people, including maybe some of you. If you watched our other videos over the past month, we just did a big series on our new mainsail. But before that, we did a little bit of a series on batteries and combining lithium and lead together. And you guys sent a lot of comments about, maybe he was doing it right, but he wasn't doing it completely efficiently. So you challenged him on some things, and that got his wheels turning in his head, and he's been on his computer like mad and on the phone. Tell us what you're working on.
It is a device that if you have lead batteries and you want to add some lithium, or honestly, if you have lithium batteries and you watch my video and decide you'd like to add some lead, you put this little device in and it lets you use old lead calibrated battery regulators, charge regulators. So you don't have to buy new ones. And it charges the lithium by a lithium regime and lets the lead be charged by a lead regime right on the same circuit. It's really pretty simple when you get right down to it, but the circuit board was hard and the software was a little tricky. But it all works, and it will be available in some way. I haven't exactly decided. There'll definitely be a schematic on our Patreon. I should put that up now because it's done.
Yep.
But we're going to get these boards done. I found the boxes and to put them in, and the boards are going to be made in China. Excuse me. A couple little connectors have to be soldered on because they can't do that because of technical stuff. And then I have to find someone in the United States that will do that little bit of soldering, hook it up to a computer for 10 seconds and program the chip, and then do the shipping, because we can't do shipping from the Dominican Republic. Outward shipping is nothing you want to deal with.
Mm-hmm. So these are Hybrid Lithium-Lead Charge Controllers.
Yep.
Or HLLCs, I guess is
My marketing person wants it called.
Yeah, so he's really been deep into working on this stuff, and if you know anything about Clark, he's happiest when he's tinkering and being a mad scientist, but it looks like this is gonna really work. Maybe...
Yeah, it should make life better for not just boaters, but anybody that wants to mix batteries.
Yep.
And right now, it won't be good in 20 years. I don't know if you'd want one of these things, but right now, a lot of people that have perfectly good lead that would like to have the advantages of lithium, me included, for my air conditioner. And this device is like a really cheap way to have the advantages of lithium and still keep your lead and have that take care of the long haul.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna figure out a way to distribute them either through Patreon or maybe we'll start a Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where if we're gonna make them, we might as well make at least 100 of them, maybe 1,000 of them, mm-hmm. To sell. So that'll be coming soon. So I guess even though we had a crappy month, we had a productive month. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess we should talk about the budget.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a new sail. In case you didn't already know that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, 3 videos on the subject, but people seemed interested, and we keep hearing people say, we just want to see you doing projects, just doing projects. Well, there's 3 videos of us doing a project.
Yes. And just hanging out at the boatyard and with, mm-hmm. some other people you might recognize. Yeah, that's fun. So check that out. The cost of the sale was rolled into last year's budget, so if you saw that episode, it's in there. If you want to see that episode, we'll put it up there or up there. I don't know which way it is. So the budget for this month, we did some rearranging during the sick period of the spreadsheets for keeping track of all the budget. And we're going to stick to aiming for about $1,000 a month in 2021. We've been doing that since I look back at 2018, our January adventure log. We had spent $1,000 a month, and that's kind of when we set that goal for ourselves. And we haven't had to up it yet, so we'll see. And then, of course, every year we have a little bit of refit costs that are outside that, maybe a couple $1,000s if we go in the boatyard this year or something like that. But for January, food $4.89, restaurants $43, beer, wine, and alcohol $57. Our household expenses $54 just for some little things around the house, boat. Phone $21. Our mooring was $60, as it normally is all 6 months we've been here. Our maintenance was a little bit higher, including some spare parts and some stuff for your Hulk projects. That was like $234 out of a total of $468.
It probably technically shouldn't be part of our budget.
It probably should be like a little separate business thing. Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Then transportation, $100 for 2 times to Puerto Plata and back in a taxi. Entertainment budget, $20 for Netflix, Spotify, that sort of stuff. We had shipping costs of $3 that was just miscellaneous stuff that doesn't go anywhere. And our Wi-Fi, our internet bill was $35 this month, bringing the total to $13.49 for kind of our regular stuff. And then I separated out medical separately because I thought you might be interested. So for 3 nights in the hospital, 2 surgeries, all our medical supplies, because we topped up on gauze and things like that, medicines,
all the drugs, every day in the hospital have an IV antibiotic for a week.
Yep. All that came to,
and going back for the follow-up. It's all included.
All that came to about $7,000 US, and that I think was with a slight discount at the end that they gave us. But it turns out, which we weren't expecting, the insurance that we have back in the U.S. covered a lot of that. So what we ended up paying was $1,252 overall for everything, all said and done. So our total monthly expense would be the 2 of those added together, which I didn't write down on this sheet, but I'll add them up and put them on the screen. It's right there. Ta-ding! That is our monthly total for the month. Again, some extra stuff this month that we wouldn't consider our normal expenses, but the beauty of living our lives in a frugal way like this and doing all the planning we've done is that when something like that comes up, it's just, okay, cool, there's the money taken care of. And that's a really great thing to have.
Yeah.
Those are expenses.
Yeah, it's a month of us being sick and doing homework.
Yeah, so we're alive, we are being productive, and we still didn't manage to spend a ton of money, even with emergency services and that sort of stuff. So
just don't seem to want to spend it anymore. That's why that's where it is.
Life is good.
When I went off cruising back in 2000, the budget also was $1,000 a month, but that included, amongst all the other things, flying home once a year. We're not really doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, the medical thing kind of makes up for that. It seems like a reasonable amount of money to spend. It isn't a very expensive lifestyle. It just isn't.
Oh, I added in our insurance cost every month. Our insurance is actually a little higher than it has been in previous years. Our health insurance is somewhere around $50 or $60. I'll put that here. Ding. And that'll be included in the monthly budget too, because I think we did not include that last year. The whole $10 or $12 or whatever that we were paying.
It's hard to know where to draw the line on expenses. It's not like we're trying to hide things, but eventually you get to something that really had nothing to do with cruising. It just had to do with how we choose to live a life. And that doesn't belong. And then the other end of it, something that very much like the new mainsail, you know, you deserve to know if you're going to get into this lifestyle, what things cost. But where do we draw the line?
Yeah, our budget is certainly not going to be your budget.
Right. I really doubt you're going to buy a bunch of electronic components and start building things. That's such a weird thing that only I do. But your medical costs
might be higher. A lot of people are older than we are when they go cruising, and there's medicines or insulin or things that they need. There are people who choose to have a nicer boat and have nice things, and those things are less important to us. We have good boat systems that work. Our boat is solid. I didn't mean that we don't have a nice boat, just that we have an antique boat. We have an old boat. If you want to live on a nice floating condo that is a new catamaran, your expenses are going to be different than ours.
Medical, I think, bears a little mention. What we just did is an interesting thing. You might be getting older by the time you're getting ready to go cruising, and you say, I'd go, but our health is just slipping. Need to be close to the doctor. Well, if you're going to have a cardiac emergency, then you're probably right. But if you just need some help occasionally, there's good doctors everywhere. And there's airplanes for the big things. So, if you had to have something major done, you'd fly home for it. But there are countries in particular, DR's one of them, where it's really good medicine. It's as good, and Mexico's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places, and the point is, it's so much cheaper than it is in the U.S.
And I didn't feel like I was getting second-rate medical care here. I felt well taken care of.
No, I really trusted your surgeon, and
yeah. I mean, the rooms weren't as shiny, nice, brand new.
I think they were fine.
But they were fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine by my standards, but I could see some people in the United States saying, oh, there's a chipped piece of paint there, or, things like that, or maybe the equipment isn't quite as shiny and updated as it could be, but it still does the same stuff.
I really wish we would understand Spanish better. That would have made the communication easier. But they went to great efforts to find people to translate for us.
Yes. So good tip about going to a hospital in a foreign country. If you're going to a foreign country, something that I did that I'm so glad I did was, we know some Spanish, but we don't know enough Spanish. We don't know the Spanish word for liver or appendix or these other things. So I typed up basically a little cover sheet that said, here's my name, here's where I'm from, here's my passport number, here's my allergies and things, here's what I think is wrong with me. And then when I went to the hospital, I had translated that into Spanish. And then when I went to the hospital, I literally just handed them the sheet that said, hello, my name is Emily, my Spanish isn't great, here's what I think is wrong with me. And instantly it was like, oh, okay, typed into the computer and gone. So even though our taxi driver was there to help us translate and stuff, we ended up not really needing them. And luckily for medical, you can mime a lot of things. But if you are going to a foreign country, it's good. Because I was lucky that I had to wait. I wasn't lucky, but I had to wait a couple weeks to get in, so I had thought about this a while. But if you had an emergency thing and you need to communicate to a doctor that you're allergic to a particular medicine and you don't know the Spanish word for it or the French word or whatever, that's a little disconcerting. So
I do it all the time out here, not so much because we know where everything is. But if we're going to go on a bus trip inland someplace, I carry a little piece of paper that says in the native language, "Hi, my name is Clark. Please take me to this hotel."
yeah.
And I figure I can just flag down a taxi anywhere and show it to him, and he'll just take some money and shake his head yes, and I'm taken care of. And just me, I've never had to use it. I've always been able to communicate, but I always carry that in my wallet.
Right. Or if you have kids, give them that piece of paper or whatever. It's not like, we have Google Translate, we have apps on our phones and things, but internet isn't, out here when you're on a sailboat, you don't always have internet. So it's good to plan ahead for those things.
Yep.
So there's your medical special tip for the month, I guess.
I think that was our month.
I'm hoping that February is a little more active.
Yeah.
Start walking again and all that stuff.
Part of February is going to be isolation still. We're filming this in February, and you can hear my cough. So I'm going to wait a little longer before I venture out. Emily seems to be more or less over hers. So I'm sure that we're on the mend and it's going to go well.
Yep. Thanks to our patrons as always. Oh, thank you to, we're all over the place this month. I'm sorry. Thank you to Nick, one of our patrons in Texas, who is helping me possibly do some manufacturing and prototyping for one of my board games. He has a workshop and does CNC work and design work, and I asked him, what do you think about this project? And he has sent back blueprints and diagrams and all this amazing stuff. So thank you to Nick, and thank you to everybody else. We look forward to talking to some of you in the very near future, as we do every month, on the phone. So that's it, I think.
So, bye from Luperon.
Bye, see you next month.
When we met, we knew that we did things differently, but with no regrets, both living life authentically. So we packed up this antique boat to make a life upon the sea. For the worse and for the better, to live a life full of adventure. Emily and Clark's Adventure.